Today, we're going to go game by game, matchup by matchup, pretty much looking at all the players, identifying those must starts, maybe guys you want to bench, those sneaky starts, by seeing how fantasy points can be scored in some of these games. But before we dig in, you need to ask your start-sit questions in the comment section below. I'll answer them tonight, usually Saturday night, 10, 11, 12 o'clock, whenever I can get to them. I'll answer them all at once, and I'll do that. Help somebody else in the comments, and on top of that, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. We're doing this every week. Next year, we're doing this every week. So, you come back, you got a question, you want to bounce some ideas, ask it in the comment section on the Saturday must-start video. It will always be here. Click that subscribe button. Stop missing out. Ric Flair's watching. Do not disappoint Ric Flair. But we're looking at our first matchup here, and it is the Eagles versus the Carolina Panthers. We got a 46 over-under, and we got the Carolina Panthers in their weird game scripts. There are some games where they're pushing the rock, and they're exciting, and sometimes it's nasty, but I'm expecting the Panthers to push things in a weird way, but the Eagles getting up on top. Vegas is saying that with the spread as well, with it being 13 in favor of the Eagles. Saquon Barkley, I mean, is there anybody out there benching Saquon Barkley? Let me know. I would really like to hear that, but you have to be blessed because the Carolina Panthers are allowing fantasy points to running backs at a big clip. A.J. Brown, one of the top wide receivers in football. Davante Smith's coming back from the injury. Grant Calcaterra on the Eagles might be a player some of you guys are looking at if you're hurting at tight end because he's going to be stepping into some workload, might be getting some targets. Again, the tight end position, they're gambles. They get lower average depth of target when it comes to getting the ball downfield. They have to rack up targets, get yards after the catch, and then score in ends. And you're pretty much making that touchdown bet. You do have a 46 over-under. Vegas is saying the ball is going to be pushed a little bit in this game, and the scoring should be in the Eagles' favor, so he could score a touchdown in this matchup. But that's something you're just going to have to look at the other waiver wire tight ends and make that choice. Hopefully, you're not in that spot. Run backs. Chuba Hubbard, like always, doesn't mean it's always going to hit. Didn't hit last week, but the workload should be there. Adam Thielen's trending up when it comes to the workload. The snap rates are increasing per week. A lot of you guys are going to look at him for the flex. Xavier Legette's just going to be that shotgun gamble that you're going to put in your lineups if you need to make that choice, if you're not looking good at wide receiver. Jonathan Brooks on the upswing, and he had an increase of snaps and workload from his first game to his second game. Look for him to get some work in the passing game, maybe get some work on the outside. We have some teams on bye. Some of you guys may have to use him. He's a good lottery ticket running back because the upside and juice is there. You're not going to count on it because he's not getting a full workload, but I expect him to run a fair amount of routes, especially with the spread like this. And if the Panthers are playing from behind and they decide to throw the ball a good bit and they keep him out there, it's not like the Panthers are playing for a Super Bowl or even a playoff spot. Maybe he gets some work in the passing game. Maybe he runs 12 to 20 routes in this game if they're down. I look for this game to be fun. This might be a tighter game than expected down the line. This game might get pushed a little bit. Be on the lookout for that. That is not a prediction, but the Carolina Panthers have been pushing teams lately. That could happen. Don't sleep on that. We do have a deep spread here, but don't sleep on that. Jonathan Brooks, though, upside play going into Week 14. Raiders and Bucks. Bucky Irving's questionable. You're watching him. This is a good matchup for these running backs for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If he's out, Sean Tucker up, and Sean Tucker is a good guy to look at in a matchup like this because he's going to get the work. Rachaad White, of course, if Bucky is out. Bucky is in. You're probably just going to have to roll with it and hope for the best. However, if you do have other options, you may want to explore those, but they got to be good options. They can't be just guys you're gambling with off the waiver wire, guys you just picked up. Bucky Irving is very good. Top tier upside. Good between the tackles. If he's in, you're good. Probably. That's not a guarantee. This is a good matchup. We got a good over-under with it. We got a good spread, too. That could allow the Bucks, or is predicting the Bucks. The spread is that they'll be up in this game. They might be able to pound it up in the back end. That being said, with no pause, Mike Evans. on the field, getting the deep ball. I think if you got Mike Evans, I think most of you are going to just start him over what you already have. That doesn't mean when I say stuff like that player's a must start or anything. I'm just really looking at the market as a whole. So if you have other players or if you're blessed, you're going to have to make those decisions. Cade Otton, I see him getting volume in this offense. I see him getting work. If Bucky Irving is out, they may look at him more in the short game to keep the ball moving. Jalen McMillan, Sterling Shepard, one of those guys are going to hit. Jalen McMillan has been running a lot of routes. The workload hasn't been appropriate. He hasn't been getting enough volume to be productive, but he is running a lot of routes on the field. He could hit down this stretch, somewhere down the line. He could. I'm not guaranteeing it. But the odds are saying, hey, if you're running this many routes with a quarterback that doesn't care, that pushes it downfield in these good matchups, something's going to happen. Mike Evans is the dude, though. The run backs, Brock Bowers. Do I need to say it? Who's benching Brock Bowers? Who's doing that? Jakobi Meyers, we're watching him on the injury report. Trey Tucker gets targets, but not many people can start him. Not many people have him rostered. Not a must pick up. But if you're looking for targets and work, especially if Meyers is out, there you go. Good luck with that. Alexander Madison's questionable coming into this game. Same with Amir Abdullah. We're just watching the running backs in the injury report. It could be a sincere McCormick game. He got 12 carries last week. And if you're looking for spot reps at your running back position, Sincere McCormick might be the guy to look at. Some of you guys are hurting that much at running back, especially with the bye weeks, and you have to do it. Hopefully, he gets to work to where he can help you and get by. Maybe he can volume into fantasy production. He's a good stash just in case this week. Falcons, Vikings, we got the Kirk Cousins comeback game here. Very interesting. He's been on a cold streak, but Justin Jefferson, because he's Justin Jefferson, 45.5 over-under. And this one, I could see it being one of those games that could go either way. That could be a little bit lower than expected in the scoring or a little bit higher than expected. I could see it either way. I believe if you simulated this game 100 times, you'd get some wild ones out of it. You guarantee would. You would get some wild ones. Just look at what you have on both sides of the ball here. You got some weapons. You got some quarterbacks that's been pushing it downfield. You would get some wild ones out of this if you simulated this game 100 times. Aaron Jones getting that work. TJ Hockenson getting targets. Again, tight end position, it can bust on you because they get those short targets and the volume's got to be right and you got to get those red zone looks. But again, TJ Hockenson getting enough work to where you're like auto starting him almost on any given Sunday. Jordan Addison is the upside play for the Vikings. He can get those ancillary targets. That's not going to Justin Jefferson or Hockenson. He can really do a lot with those. Bijan Robinson, I don't see anybody benching him. It's not like people are just looking to bench their studs this time of year. Drake London could be money in this matchup. With Kirk Cousins in a revenge game, Drake London good against zone. He could be money in this matchup. You're watching these wide receivers. Darnell Mooney has been hot this year. Also had some cold streaks. Ray McCloud was good last week getting volume. And he gets volume randomly in these games. Kyle Pitts, tight end's going to tight end. Volume, air yards, potentially there in this matchup, but potentially not enough to make it happen in fantasy. Tight ends are volatile. I'm not going to guarantee anything, but we're looking for the splash play. We're looking for the red zone looks. But buyer beware, we do have a good matchup here, 45.5 over-under. But again, I could see it go in any way, shape, or form. I can see it being a drag-out fist fight, low scoring. I can see it being a shootout and things breaking. Good luck with this one. Browns, Steelers. Russell Wilson is looking to cook. The last time these two teams played, it was in the snow. It was crazy. George Pickens is questionable with a hamstring. If he's in, I guarantee you probably about 5 targets or more, like every single week, he's going to be getting that work. If he's out, good luck. Calvin Austin, Van Jefferson. Maybe if you're trying to play money ball, if you don't understand that, look the other way. Najee Harris, Jaylen Warren, they should be splitting up the workload. Jaylen Warren hit last time against the Browns. Has the potential to give you that touchdown upside, but it's catching a few balls every week out of the backfield. Pat Freiermuth, another tight end situation here where you're watching the volume and you just hope he hits the end zone. Run backs, Nick Chubb. He scored against the Steelers last time. Can we do it again? Jerry Jeudy's been hot. He's been really hot. Jerry Jeudy's a guy you're paying attention to. A lot of you guys are going to start him. And Jameis Winston does not care, and he'll push it downfield and go YOLO. Cedric Tillman's out. Volume should be in this offense for Elijah Moore and David Njoku. So this game might be hot. It might hit the over. It might be more explosive than expected for a snow game that was impacted that much by the weather. It was kind of explosive. It was at least fun to watch. So this is a hot one right here that could give us some fantasy producers that do something, but both teams are very sticky on the defense as well. Just like the previous game, this one could go either way. Jets-Dolphins. And when you look at the Jets, I think slow game scripts, I think weirdness, and the odds that Breece Hall plays in this matchup isn't good. When you're doubtful, it's usually around 25%. Braelon Allen, next guy up. A lot of people are going to throw him in their lineups. A lot of people have to. If you don't have to, you don't have to, and you better start your studs. Braelon Allen's good on every roster because just in case Breece Hall's out for the year, you do not want him going off on your opponent's team and have to face him in the fantasy playoffs, even if you don't need him. Davante Adams, Garrett Wilson, the targets are concentrated to them. They can go off on any given Sunday, but it is the Jets. They're a highly volatile team when it comes to production. So you're just going to have to eat whatever they give you. It could be 25 fantasy points. It could be 5. That is what you're getting. One will probably do something. The other one will be so-so or not do so well. Tyler Conklin was a little bit hotter in the early part of the season. It's kind of cooled off a little bit. Run backs coming back here. The Dolphins have fantasy assets. They're kind of volatile on how hard or when they hit. Tyreek Hill, we're watching him. You're probably putting him in and hoping for the best, but you got that splash play. Jaylen Waddle, same thing. He's went off recently. Jonnu Smith's been getting a lot of targets. One of the top tight ends in the league when it comes to targets. DeVon and Achane, I just do not see anybody really benching him because he's getting good volume and work out of the passing game. Mostert is questionable. Watch for that. Jalen Wright is your upside lottery ticket in this game. Especially if Mostert's out, look for him to push for double-digit touches. Maybe 8, 9, 10, something like that. Maybe even a 7 spot of touches. And all he has to do is take one carry, see daylight, and he could house it. And it could be a big game for you. That being said, Saints, Giants. And we're looking at Alvin Kamara like we do every week. He's getting so much work that he can volume himself into baseline fantasy production. MVS, Deep Ball City. We bring one in, we score, and it's going to look good. We don't, we get overshot. It's a bad look. Look at the other wide receivers here like Cedric Wilson. As a lottery ticket play, Juwan Johnson, another lottery ticket play for the Saints. And then you're looking at the Giants. Malik Neighbors, we're watching the injury. We're watching if he's going to be in. He'll get volume if he's out there. He'll push 10, 13, 15, 35 targets in a game. Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton if he's out. Darius Slayton, deep ball dandy that could be getting volume. Drew Lock has cojones with the ball, could push it downfield. That's something to look at, but still can overshoot him on a lot of those deep balls. Darius Slayton could be a good volatile option. Volatile option if Malik Neighbors is out. Tyrone Tracy, I look for him to be a volatile play, but he's got a lot of talent. And that's why he's volatile, because the Giants have not been looking good, and his talent makes him volatile. If not, it'd be looking bad. But again, I do not know what I'm going to get out of Tyrone Tracy. I look for him to get volume. I look for him to get opportunity. I look for him to volume into baseline 10, 11, 12, 9, 8, somewhere like that. I do not see a steady flat line here. But for him to hit the upside, we got to score a touchdown. We got to break away on a long run. And that is not projectable because something has to break on the defense and he has to be in the position to get there. Jaguars, Titans. 40 over under. Vegas is saying, hey, this is a nasty matchup. We got a tight spread. So things could get weird here. We got Mac Jones. We got the Titans here. Things could be very slow, but it could pick up the pace. Brian Thomas Jr. is the guy you're looking at for the deep ball. He's a splash play machine, deep targets. That's always good for fantasy football, especially for the upside. He is risky, though, due to the quarterback play. The Titans game scripts, Tank versus ETN. Good luck with that. One of them will probably do a little something. Tank's due to do something. He's like a Quentin Johnston type running back where he'll break your heart one way or another. Either scoring big on your bench or scoring badly in your lineup. Parker Washington hit last week. He's running a lot of routes and getting more opportunity with Gabe Davis out on IR. Evan Ingram's always a look if you're looking for volume at tight end, but he's rostered. You should already know that. Run backs. Calvin Ridley. He's either all or nothing. He's either everything or nothing. Nick Westbrook, all he does is score touchdowns. The thing about that, he's due to not score touchdowns. This matchup looks like it's going to be a little bit dirty when it comes to production, but that is a lottery ticket play. Tony Pollard, look for him to get some work. Look for him to get some opportunity. Running backs do well against the Jaguars. That might be your must start from this matchup. I don't like this matchup, but that might be the most reliable to get the baseline and to not bust on you. Brian Thomas Jr., though, upside dandy, could hit for the most, but could also really sink your ship due to the quarterback play. It's not like you hate him, you love him as a player, but again, the matchup here and the quarterback play, you're questioning. Seahawks, Cardinals here. Kenneth Walker considered uncertain for Sunday. So we're looking at Zach Charbonnet. We're going to see whether or not he's on the field. Zach Charbonnet could volume in the fantasy production. He could volume to 10 fantasy points. That's something to look at. Watch the injury report for Kenneth Walker. Then watch Zach Charbonnet as well. DK Metcalf, deep balls volume. You're going to take it how it is with him. Sometimes he splashes. Sometimes he just gets you the baseline. Jackson Smith-Njigba has had, 3 or 4 wide receiver 1 weeks on the season. His low-end games are not too bad. This is a matchup with a 44 over-under. A game script could break a little bit here. So you're looking at him. It might be a little bit uneasy, but you're all right. Tyler Lockett, upside dandy, a lottery ticket play. Noah Fant, if you're hurting at tight end, we got a fair amount of tight ends that you can play the matchups with. Run backs, Marvin Harrison Jr. He's up and down for fantasy. Hard to trust him, but the upsides are there. Trey McBride, you're just throwing in. He's Trey McBride, and there's no analysis with the top players. It's usually your top player. Auto start in fantasy. If you're questioning it, good on you. Do what you need to do. James Conner, volume, touches, could volume in the fantasy production. Michael Wilson, getting it on the outside. A very, very volatile player and doesn't hit the upside too often. Could do it if they lock in on Marvin Harrison Jr. and they're trying to put it to the outside. But the main thing here, watch Kenneth Walker. If he's in, he's in. And if he's out, look at Zach Charbonnet, pretty heavy. Bears, Niners, 44 over under. We got Isaac Guerendo in. Splash running back play with tons of upside. Patrick Taylor is there as well. Would not be surprised if he steals more work than expected. Would not be surprised, but I'm cool with Guerendo if you really need it at running back because he's going to be getting starter touches is what we're projecting, but we'll see for sure. And then also Izzy Abanikanda, you better have him stashed just in case things really break down here. Debo, a lot of people are going to start him, but I'm not going to 100% trust him. And I'm going to catch a lot of start-sit questions about him, Juwan Jennings, and George Kittle. George Kittle is an auto start due to the tight end spot just being volatile in general. Debo, Jennings, maybe even Ricky Pearsall. A lot of people are going to have questions with those players. 44 over under. We got the Bears. This game script could be very weird. And the Niners could be up on the Bears too if Caleb Williams isn't that great. And that could be a good look for the running backs, giving them work and opportunity. And that could allow them to produce a little bit more in the box score if they're up later. But if Caleb Williams cooks, then these wide receivers will have to cook a little bit more. So like every Bears game, it's on to Caleb Williams. DeAndre Swift, questionable. If not, in there, Rashawn Johnson's a guy you're looking at. I bet you he gets a little bit more work than expected, but it's not a great matchup for the running backs. But if they get creative, use Swift or Johnson a little bit more in the passing game, they might surprise you a little bit. DJ Moore, questionable. Watch him anyways. And this is a nasty matchup where things got to get creative, so I wouldn't be surprised if Keenan Allen's the guy or Romo Dunze. They're all out there running routes. They're like flex plays that you're just making gambles with, and sometimes you just got to drop your nuts on the table, see what's happening with those types of players. Bills, Rams, 49.5 over under. When you look at the Rams, you know where the ball's going. It's going to 3 players, Puka, Cooper, Kyron. You know that. You know that, and this depends on how high they hit. Then there's Demarcus Robinson. If the coverage breaks, he can blow up on you. He's a flex lottery ticket that's sitting on waivers. If you want him, go get him, but there's no guarantees with it. We do have a 49.5 over under, so some players are going to hit in this game, and usually when you see a high over under like that, the odds are more likely that an ancillary player could do something in this matchup. you're looking at the Bills. James Cook, Ray Davis. James Cook's the guy. Ray Davis might get some ancillary work. Amari Cooper has been quiet off and on, but we'll be running routes, getting some opportunity. Khalil Shakur in a matchup like this might be a little trendy. We're watching Keon Coleman if he's out there. Dalton Kincaid's questionable. We're watching the health of those players, but I expect a wild one from this matchup. Chargers-Chiefs. We got a 43 over-under. We got Harbaugh. We got the Chiefs offense. DeAndre Hopkins should be getting targets. 9 targets last week, 6 the week prior, so we're starting to run more routes, get more opportunity. And then Travis Kelce, the mainstay at tight end. Xavier Worthy's a guy that will break your heart on your bench or in your lineup, so you're just going to have to make that gamble if you need to make it. Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt. Pacheco's your lead guy. Kareem Hunt, if you're really got to play money ball with it. Run backs here, Gus Edwards, Vital. They're splitting the work, 6 carries to 4. So you're looking at that. This is a tough matchup for running backs, so would not be surprised if Vital gets more targets out of the backfield than what people are anticipating. Would not be surprised if he catches like 5 balls, 35 yards, carries the ball for like 35 yards, and if he scores, that could be a decent week. Ladd McConkey, questionable. This is a good matchup for him. Not matchup-wise versus the defense, but matchup-wise, just getting creative volume that could lead to targets. Quentin Johnson, not a great matchup for him because he'll be on the outside. He's got to win one-on-one against this nasty team that shuts down wide receivers like him, those boundary guys on the outside. But you're really hoping one of those deep shots hit. If that happens, then that could correct things. Will Dissly might be the surprise option here because the Chargers will need to get creative. They're not going to be able to sit on the run. They're going to have to throw it, and they're going to have to be creative with their play calling. Will Dissly might get more targets than expected. Cowboys-Bengals, why is this on Monday night? Why? Because people watch the Cowboys. The Bengals got some stars. We got 50 over-under. We got volume in this game. Chase Brown getting volume against the Cowboys. Great matchup. Chase should explode. Higgins should explode. If one busts, that's just due to a bad beat, and that just happens. Mike Gesicki, good around the red zone, getting targets, so the odds increase for him a little bit. CeeDee Lamb's questionable. You're watching him. Rico Dowdle is explosive, good in a bind if you need him, especially if you're not absolutely stacked at running back. Jake Ferguson's also questionable. Watch for him. If not, Schoonmaker might hit for you. And then Brandon Cook, 7 targets last week, getting those air yards. And if you're really hurting Jalen Tolbert, especially if this game script breaks, quarterback play is going to be in question for the Cowboys. So the Cowboys might be muted a little bit, but they've been making some of these games a little bit sticky, a little bit iffy. So this one could be an actually fun one to watch, even though I made fun of it. But those are the matchups going into Week 14. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Be sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.